Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Host Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Haitian unrest continues to be a concern for the region. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 1st September 2023. Details after this important message.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. Haitian unrest continues as gangs control 60% of the capital of the French-speaking Caribbean nation. More in this ZNS News item.
International efforts continue in restoring order and the government to impoverished Haiti. Earlier last month, we reported the proposed Kenyan-led multinational security force to that island. Since then, a delegation of 20 Kenyans arrived in Haiti to learn more about the country's insecurity in order to help guide the imminent arrival of a multinational force led by the African country. Based on international reports, the delegation spent 3 days on Haiti, meeting with the Haitian government and the Haitian National Police and civil society groups to get an understanding of the nation's social and political environment. Other efforts to restore normalcy include the reopening of a clinic shut down for 2 months due to gang invasion. But as efforts continue, challenges remain. On Saturday, the PNH reported that investigations are underway into the killing of 20 people, part of a religious group that attempted to disband a K9 gang. But for the many who remain on the island in makeshift camps, hope remains for greater support from authorities. Locally, the Bahamas has committed to dispatching 150 officers to Haiti as a part of a multinational force. However, Minister of National Security, the Honorable Wayne Munro, has disclosed that for this to happen, a United Nations and CARICOM-supported intervention led by Haitians is what is needed to advance restoration efforts.
The Eminent Persons Group from CARICOM is seeking to meet with the stakeholders in Haiti because it has always been the position of Prime Minister Davis that any solution to Haiti must be Haitian in origin, must be embraced by the Haitian people in order to succeed.
But as those efforts continue, nations like the Bahamas, the United States, and Mexico continue to grapple with scores of migrants from the Caribbean region's poorest country. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Trinidad and Tobago is doing better than many countries around the world, and the father of the nation, Eric Williams, would be proud. This, according to his daughter Erica Williams Connell, as the Twin Island Republic celebrates its 61st year of independence. TV6's Nicole M. Romani reports.
Head of the Eric Williams Memorial Collection, Research Library, Archives and Museum at the University of the West Indies, Erica Williams Connell, tells of her father's vision for the nation. She was speaking on the TV6 Morning Edition as we look ahead to our 61st anniversary of independence.
Let me read to you some of Eric Williams' words and let your viewers decide how far we have gotten, how far we still have to go. And this is what he said in one respect. What use will you make of your independence? What will you transmit to your children 5 years from today? The first responsibility is the protection and promotion of your democracy.
She says her father would be proud were he alive today.
I think we're actually doing a lot better than some other countries. I could certainly mention the one I'm living in. I think as a whole, obviously we're a very young nation. But you see what's going on in America today in all kinds of aspects. And don't forget, slaves benefited from slavery. We got to remember that. Being sarcastic, that's our Florida governor talking. But I think when you look at what some other countries are going through now, we've not done too badly, considering our size and all of our issues. And yes, we do have issues.
However, she notes with some concern the impact of technology on the youth.
And everyone has a phone, and that's a screen, and it's an addiction. I have a 13-year-old granddaughter who lives with me. She does not have a phone. She does not have a phone. She uses mine. And she tells me that she's so embarrassed because the 8-year-olds in school have phones. She's so embarrassed, she lies and says, oh, I left my phone at home. I mean, for example, I will get 200, I could look on my WhatsApp right now, and her friends, 276 messages. Seriously? Overnight? So this is a big deal.
Mrs. Williams-Connell further notes social issues that would have been unsettling to her father.
I think the things that would have caused him concern are the things that everyone in the world grapples with. Our youth, a lot of many of the kids dropping out of school, children having children, that's a big deal. Children having children. So therefore, there are no two parents in the house. And mother is left with the child scraping along, managing however she can, if she can, to work 3 jobs or 2 jobs or 1 job. And the children are left to be latchkey kids coming in from school by themselves. God knows what they're doing.
With regard to the Eric Williams Memorial Collection Research Library, Archives and Museum, she says, she received many offers from all over the world to purchase her father's writings. But, she maintains, some things are not for sale. They belong to TNT. Nicole M. Romani, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Digicel is reported to have paid US $90 million to founder and associate firms in fees and bonuses. Javon Keys of TVJ's Business Day reports.
The Irish Times is reporting that telecoms giant Digicel paid $90 million in fees and bonuses to its founder Dennis O'Brien, along with companies he controlled over the past 3 years. This news comes as Digicel embarks on a major debt restructuring. The reporting comes from documents related to the massive debt restructuring currently underway at the company. The news agency says the payments included $5.4 million given to Mr. O'Brien under a long-term incentive plan and a bonus linked to Digicel's sale of its Pacific operation last year. $26.2 million was paid over the 36-month period for the use of a jet owned by a company controlled by O'Brien. The network of markets in which Digicel operates has fallen from 33 to 25 since the Pacific deal. It is now focused on the Caribbean and Central America. Mr. O'Brien's Island Capital Advisory firm, which has helped Digicel with financing and deals, received $11.9 million in fees over the 3 financial years to the end of March. Actavo, an engineering services company controlled by Mr. O'Brien, has been paid $43.8 million over the past 3 years, mainly for the installation and maintenance of fiber optic networks in Digicel's markets. The Irish Times says the documents outline that Actavo, quote, secures the business from Digicel through a competitive tender process involving other vendors, unquote. Mr. O'Brien also received salary and other short-term benefit. These details come as Digicel's current debt restructuring takes place. It will see $1.7 billion of debt written off and a group of bondholders take control of Digicel. It's Digicel's third attempt to overhaul its borrowings in the past 5 years. It's on track to reduce company debt to $3.12 billion compared to a peak of over $7 billion in early 2019. It will also see the shareholding of Mr. O'Brien reduced to about 20%.
Antigua and Barbuda's Inland Revenue Department has collected more revenues than budgeted for the first 6 months of this year. Deputy Commissioner of the IRD, Jermaine Jarvis, says this is a result of the uptick in economic activity in the country. Garfield Burford of ABS News tells us more.
It's a development which will be welcomed by the government, which has consistently pointed to the benefits to the country of its investment push. Deputy Commissioner of the Inland Revenue Department, Jermaine Jarvis, outlines the quantum of the increase in tax collection between January and June this year compared with the same period in 2022.
We have collected 20 million over what we budgeted to collect, and approximately 39, close to 40 million over last year collection, 2022 collection, for the period January to June.
Economists point to this as one of the benefits of increased business and consumer spending in an economy, increased investment yielding more economic activity, and ultimately an increase in tax revenues. The main sectors which have consistently driven this growth are tourism and construction.
Because of the investment that is happening in the country and the increased economic activity, you would have growth in relation to the taxation as well. So as economic activity increase, you would have growth in the number of items that are being sold, and that will translate in in growth in the taxes collected. And as well as persons record increase in profits, you have resulting increase in profit taxes as well.
While there has been an uptick in tax collection for the first half of this year, the authorities have repeatedly pointed to the need to improve both compliance and the efficiency of the process. After all, figures show Antigua and Barbuda has one of the lowest tax-to-GDP levels in the sub-region. Jarvis says the tax administration system is being upgraded to allow payments to be completed online. The department remains in talks with the suppliers and banks, but Jarvis is unable to provide a timeline for its completion. He also warns property owners who are delinquent in paying their taxes to take heed.
In September, we will enter into what you call our user acceptance testing for a new software that we're upgrading with respect to our property tax system. And we are definitely going to be on the ball in terms of trying to collect outstanding taxes for property tax so that there will not be arrears building up in the future. So persons are encouraged to come in and ensure that they pay their property tax and keep compliant.
And now for our HGP Regional News Roundup with Tiana Cole.
Suriname has been named among 8 countries that are adopting measures in line with the World Health Organization Framework Convention on Tobacco Control to protect the health of their populations from novel tobacco products. The WHO said that with the recent ban on the use and marketing of electronic cigarettes in Venezuela, currently 21 countries in the Americas regulate electronic nicotine delivery systems, such as e-cigarettes and vapes. The 8 new countries to join the initiative are Argentina, Brazil, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Suriname, Uruguay, and Venezuela. And Pan American Health Organization said these countries prohibit their sale altogether, and the other 13 countries have partially or totally adopted one or more regulatory measures. It said 14 countries in Americas, including the Caribbean, lack any regulation on these products. Marvin Safe, 29, was shot dead by his attackers who were waiting in the compound's parking area just moments after coming to work at the Arima Health Facility. Investigators said that the shooting happened shortly after 7 a.m. According to police, Safe drove onto the compound of Railway Road, and when he passed the security booth, a black X-Trail trail with gunmen opened fire on him. Officers from the Northern Division Task Force, as well as officers from the Arima CID, arrived on the site shortly after. The Ministry of Education in St. Kitts and Nevis has released the new student hair guidelines, which will come into effect from September 2023. The hair guidelines were established to prevent any potential discrimination related to hair and hairstyles. The guidelines are aimed to help school leaders foster an inclusive educational environment, while ensuring that students' access to education is not limited. I'm Tiana Cole.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
I'm Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.